Hey guys, what's up? It's iFlynn here, and today I'm starting a new series where we take a look at a certain rule for the Eidolon hunts. We break it down, I show you a build for basically the frame, the weapons, the focus loadout, all that good stuff, as well as the amp, and then I show you how it's used versus the Terror List, which then you can take those skills that you learn from fighting the Terror List and take it up against the Guncha List and the Hydra List if you decide to do a tri-cap. So in this video, we're basically just going to be taking a look at the build for the frame, the weapons, then the focus skill tree that I'm using, and then I'm going to demonstrate everything that I explained versus a Terror List, trying to capture it or kill it. Doesn't really matter. Really, what you're going to be taking away from this is like how the frame is used in all of the Eidolon fights, right? So today we're going to be taking a look at Vault, probably the best entry level frame for the Eidolon fights, and his main use is spamming your electric shields so your team can shoot through them to get damage buffs plus crit buffs, okay? So if we go ahead and we pause the game, go to equipment, go to arsenal, we can take a look at the build. So the build is pretty straightforward. It is duration and efficiency. So we have prime continuity, constitution and narrow-minded for our duration, streamline and fleeting for our max efficiency, prime flow for our energy, vitality for health, shock trooper so we can give a damage buff to our teammates, and power drift to increase the damage buff, like the percentage, up to 115%, corrosive projection to strip away 30% of the Eidolon's armor, arcane nullifier to be completely immune to magnetic procs that happen whenever you happen to take off a limb of the Eidolon. It's worth noting that you only need a rank 1 and a rank 3 of this to become completely immune, but if you have 2 bonuses or 2 full sets, then you're going to have 6 revives instead of the base 4. Moving on, we have the Lanka build. You want to be modding this for radiation damage, so you have Surration plus Split Chamber and Vigilante armaments to up your base damage across the board, Point Strike and Vital Sense for your crit chance and crit damage, Stormbringer and Hellfire for your radiation, and then on here I have a Riven that gives me electricity damage and fire rate, but if you don't have a Riven, then you would replace the Riven with File Acceleration right here, which gives you 90% fire rate for minus 15% damage, which is actually worth it in terms of DPS because the Lanka has a pretty hefty wind-up time. For my secondary, I have the Euphona Prime. Doesn't matter too much. It is basically a crit build. Prime Pistol Gambit and Target Cracker for crit chance and crit damage. Barrel Diffusion, Hornet Strike, and Lethal Torrent for base damage and multi-shot and a little bit of fire rate. Then your elemental combo giving you radiation, so convulsion plus prime heated charge, and then I like to have Papillon rounds on here just to increase the base damage of the weapon in general. I have the Sarpa equipped for the shattering impact on here, so this is going to reduce the Eidolon's base armor if we shoot it about 4 times with the Sarpa's charge attack, plus prime fury so we can get those off a little bit quicker. I have my little companion Adarza Kitty over here for the more consistent crits when we're using the Lanka, because if you don't have a Chroma in your team, you're going to want to be hitting those crits more consistently. He seems to have disappeared, okay? Go ahead and go into my operator, pause the game, go to equipment, go to operator, go to focus. I'm using the Madarai focus skill tree, and really the most important thing here is Void Strike plus the Waybounds from the Xeneric focus skill tree and the Vazarin focus skill tree. So that would be, let me see, it's Enduring Tides and Rejuvenating Tides plus, let me see here, Void Flow and Void Siphon. You want to have those unbound, and those would be the most important ones because that's going to increase your operator's energy and your operator's health. And then obviously we have Void Strike, which is pretty important. I'm going to explain how this works in terms of damage whenever we get into the fight. And yeah, so we're going to go ahead and run straight to the gates, spawn in the Terror List because I believe I only have 10 minutes to get this done. We're going to be aiming for a capture, but if we can't pull off a capture, that's okay because we have no healing on this setup. But it should be pretty straightforward. So what I like to do as soon as I get through the gates is I mark where I see any glowing blue lights because that's going to be where the Eidolon spawns. Now hopefully this doesn't crash because the other times that I've attempted this has actually crashed. So it doesn't seem to have crashed. And I can hear him spawning all the way over here. So that's good because we usually go over this way so we can get our first lure, which is right here. So we get that. I'm going to mark where he is. Just by pressing G. Here we go. Get our first lure. We're going to have to charge this by killing 3 Vomulists. It's worth noting I'm using a 223 amp as well. I'll have a little picture linked in the description below so you can see what parts it is. They'll be highlighted in blue. It's an Imgur link. So we have our second lure here. Go ahead, pick him up. So you need a total of 2 lures for this fight. So 1 lure will cover 2 limbs of the Eidolon. So because this Eidolon has 4 limbs, 2 lures is enough. And our goal right now is to charge both of them. We only need to have 1 charge to begin with. So we need to have 3 Vomulists spawn. 3 Vomulists need to spawn, and we need to kill those 3 Vomulists near the lures. And then it'll be glowing blue. So what I want to be doing, get my energy up. Should have a Trinity in your squad to help you out a little bit with that. But realistically, what you want to be doing with Volt is just placing your shields directly in front of the Eidolon. Because what will be happening is your teammates who are running Madurai, running Void Strike, they'll be invisible like this. And they'll stay invisible until their energy is completely depleted. And what they're doing while they're invisible is they're building stacks, right? So pay attention to the top right hand corner, to the left of my health. You see that I have 8 Void Strike stacks with a 3 times multiplier. So what that basically means is whenever I shoot the Eidolon, I'm going to deal increased damage because of those stacks, right? So you can see that I'm hitting higher than usual numbers, and his shield's going down pretty quickly, okay? So that's what Void Strike is all about, and that's how it's used. You should start stacking that as soon as possible if you have it. So usually 3 people in your squad will be running this. Your Volt, your Trinity, and your Harrow. So let's just go ahead and take down his shields. We're almost done. And you definitely want to be shooting through your Volt shields, because then anytime you happen to crit with your amp, the damage is going to be amplified because of that 200 increase to crit damage. Let's just go ahead and kill the Vomulus until we have 1 charge lure. And then what we want to do is, again, we place our shields directly in front of the Eidolon. And then we just go ahead and fire at the limb. And there you go. Easy as pie, guys. Easy as pie. So, as Volt, you want to make sure that you're getting directly in front of the Eidolon. Being behind him, being by the side, it's not going to be beneficial for your team because they need to be right in front of him. Especially in the Gari and Hari phase, so the Guntreless and the Hydraless phase, because you're going to be using the ult fire on the 223 amp to actually deal damage to the guy, because it deals higher base damage. So we're going to build up our Void Stacks again, and then we're going to shoot through our shields using our ult fire, and you see how fast his shields actually go down. So I'm just going to finish it off using the regular firing mode because it goes through multiple limbs. Wait for my energy to regen. Now we want to jump in front of him again, place our Volt shields down, and then go for the next limb. Like so. Easy peasy. And that's basically it, guys. So you just rinse and repeat this process. So while he's down, I'm building up my Void Strike stacks. Like so. And once he gets back up, I'm placing my 5 shields in front of him again. Like so. Going into my operator, shooting him, and taking his shield down. Like so. Pretty straightforward. Go ahead and shoot him with the single fire again. Wait for the energy to regen. And there's his shield down. Shoot for your shields. Shoot at his limbs. And there you go. You might die if you don't have a Blessing Trin. If you don't have a Harrow as well, because Harrow can make you completely immune to damage. But that's just the price that you have to pay for doing this as Volt, really. So now we do the same again. Place our shields. Shoot through it with our ult fire. Take down his shield. Not as effective that time, because we weren't in Void Strike for a very long time. Wait for our energy to regen again. Almost there. Getting the timing right is kind of crucial. And then we jump in front of him. Place down our shields once we get energy, of course. So he keeps on turning around, which is not so good. You also want to make sure that you double zoom in with your Lanka for the highest crit multiplier. And there you go. He's down. So next up is his regen phase. Basically, all you want to be doing in this phase is killing all the Vomulists as they get close to him. If you have any uncharged lures, this is the best time to charge them. So get the lures close to the little Vomulists. And then, of course, charge them up. Really simple. But you just have to make sure that you kill all the little guys during this phase. And then that way, he won't get healed. And he won't get shields back whenever he gets back up. And then it'll just be a matter of you, again, placing down your 5 volt shields and then shooting at him. If you have the Shock Trooper augment equipped, using your 1 on the Chroma or the Harrow is probably really beneficial. Because then that way you're giving them a 115% damage bonus. Okay? So because he did a stump, I'm just going to jump a little bit so I don't get knocked back by that. And there we go. There's your first Tireless captured using Volt. Pretty straightforward. Make sure to always put your shields in front of the Eidolon. Doesn't matter if it's Terry, which is this guy. Doesn't matter if it's Gary, the Gunchalist. Doesn't matter if it's Hari, the Hydralist. You want to make sure that you always have your shields facing where the guy is walking, so your team can shoot through them with your amp or with their amps and kill them that way. So the range on the alt fire with the 223 amp is so small, but it's so damaging, and that's why you have to be up in the guy's face. So you can collect your shards, Eidolon shard and brilliant Eidolon shard, and because you have a brilliant Eidolon shard, that would allow you to spawn in the Gunchalist. But we're not going to have enough time for that one tonight because nighttime is actually almost over. So hopefully that was a good demonstration on how to use Volt to capture your first Eidolon, or just using Volt in Eidolon runs in general. You place down 5 of your shields in front of the big guy. You shoot through the shields with your amp to get a crit bonus whenever your amp happens to crit. And then you also shoot through it with your Lanka, or you allow your Chroma to shoot through it with their Lanka, and then that way you'll pretty much 1-shot, 2-shot, 3-shot all the limbs depending on your Lanka build and depending on how competent your Chroma player is. So yeah, that is pretty much it. That's everything you need to know about playing Volt. We can get into like more detailed breakdowns of how Void Strike and stuff works in later videos, but basically all you need to know is that going invisible will allow you to build stacks up. Well, not stacks, it will allow you to increase the multiplier. You have 8 stacks to begin with, and every time you shoot, it's going to drain 1 stack. So you see we have a 2.9 multiplier, and every time I fire my amp or my Lanka, we're going to consume a stack, but it's going to have its damage amplified by that multiplier right there. So as soon as you enter into the planes, if you're using Madurai, it's beneficial to start stacking this as soon as possible. And there's also a focus ability that allows you to let a little fire trail behind you. You would use this to kill the Vomulists and the lures instead of wasting your stacks, right? So let's just go ahead and head back in, and I can show you guys the amp combination as well as the ability that I am talking about. So go ahead and jump in here. Wait for it to load. Loading times are going to be your worst enemy whenever it comes to hunting your Eidolons. So go into my operator, pause the game, go to equipment, operator, we go to focus, we head to Madurai. So this is your blazing dash. You want to increase this so it leaves the trail of fire behind you whenever you do your void dash, and the more you increase it, the more damage it deals, so the more effective it's going to be versus the lures, and the more effective it's going to be versus the Vomulists. And then we have, of course, our Void Strike on here. Having this maxed out is very important. You don't want to put any ranks in the Void Radiance because this is actually going to make you consume more energy, and you want to have as much energy as possible so you can stay invisible for as long as possible and build up that multiplier. You can also use energy pads to like give yourself more energy while you're invisible, so that way you can keep on stacking up that multiplier and get more damage from it, right? And then whenever it comes to our amp, we go ahead, go to equipment again, operator, customize, go to our little amp here. It's called the 223 amp, and you can see that it's the Swak Prism, the Straxon Scaffold, and the Lauren Brace. So that's tier 2, tier 2, tier 3. Pretty straightforward, and this is the stats for it. I have an Arcane equipped on it called Strike Virtuous. I can't say that word. Let's just call it Strike. It's called Strike. And then I also have Magus Vigor and Magus Husk equipped on my operator. I don't have my Husk maxed out, but Magus Vigor basically just gives you more health, and Magus Husk gives you more armor, so you pair the two of these for a lot of effective HP. And you can get all the amp parts and all the arcane blueprints from your boy Onko up here. And to start getting like your first amp, what you want to be doing is using Evara to pickpocket the Romulus to get sentient cores from them, and then you can trade them in by just talking to this guy, and then go and trade sentient cores for quill standing, and then you just trade them in, and then based off how many you trade in will determine how much standing you actually get and all that good stuff. So just press redeem all. There you go. We traded some of my little cores in for standing there, and I can rank up to my final rank with my quills and then get all the good stuff. So just go to the quill standing and then go to offerings and then purchase all the stuff that you need from here. So here's the arcanes, and then the prism, scaffolds, and then the Lauren Brace. There you go. Those are the things that you want to be purchasing. And then I would recommend Fury as an arcane for your amp over Strike, because this one just gives you more consistent damage. So yeah, other than that, that is pretty much how to use Vault versus the Terra list, or all of the Eidolons. So if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and hit that like button below. I actually crashed about 3 times trying to record this video, so I started it with 15 minutes left on night, so we did that pretty quickly, so I'm proud of that. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and hit like. If you want to see more Warframe content from me, hit subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.